All right. Hello and welcome everyone to another 2022 build refresh. Today we are talking about Baruuk, and this video is going to go pretty much the opposite of the way we just talked about Banshee, because Baruuk is incredibly good at not dying. And on top of that, he's incredibly good at murdering extremely large quantities of enemies, and even just doing straight up high damage to single targets. He's a Warframe that can kind of do a lot of things at very little cost, and so much so that we replace one of his defensive abilities that he honestly just doesn't need. For that, the helmet ability that I like on Baruuk is really bare bones. I replace his first ability with Empower. All this does is give me an additional 50% strength before I activate Serene Storm. So I use Empower once, and then I use Serene Storm once, and then I'm permanently in this, and I'm counting on Desolate Hands and Lull to just permanently keep me in Serene Storm the entire mission. So instead of a first ability, we've got an additional 50% strength mod, which is quite good. In addition, this build doesn't run a lot of the things that I think people are used to on Baruuk. And what I mean by that is I feel like people are used to completely dumping duration in all ways, and instead just going for spam casting Lull over and over and over to build your meter really fast. But I've found that especially using Baruuk on the Steel Path, just having Desolate Hands up and casting Lull every once in a while is way more than enough to keep your meter nearly completely full at all times. So I like this much more relaxed build where you can cast Lull and actually get the CC effect and just enjoy that if you happen to need it, whether you're doing mobile defense or whatever. This is a very comfortable Baruuk build. And in addition to that, I've sacrificed some of the slots that some people would probably put more strength on him for even higher damage, but I personally just don't really feel he needs that, so I've gone for Rolling Guard instead for those times whenever, something comes up, you roll, you accidentally run out of meter because you haven't been paying attention to it. These things happen. You just roll out of it and just, completely go home free. Other than that, we are running Reactive Storm. This augment for his fourth ability is just fantastic. It just makes it so you're doing the correct damage type to every single enemy in front of you, and it just shreds through everything. Reactive Storm works in such a way as to deal more damage and also give you an incredible status chance, which just helps you, of course, deal more damage. So that's just fantastic. And then we're using Brief Respite and the Augur set bonus in order to restore shields whenever we cast abilities. So in the event that through our large amount of damage reduction, we lose our shields, we can just hit either Desolate Hands again, which is recastable, or Lull, and then just put our shields right back on. And they're very unlikely to break even in Steel Path because of that high amount of damage reduction that we do have. I also use Prime Sure-Footed. The reason I use Prime Sure-Footed is because one of the few things that can catch Baruuk out and kill Baruuk is being knocked down. If you don't have access to Prime Sure-Footed, not a big deal. Baruuk, way more than playable without it. But if you do have it, I would really suggest it. Makes Baruuk even more comfortable to play. Other than that, arcane stuff. So I'm using Arcane Energize here. This is not necessary. The energy constraints on a Baruuk build really aren't so much that you're going to really need Energize, but it's here just for kind of the chill. And instead of this, if you happen to have it and you really want the higher number, you can use Arcane Fury, because on critical hit, you get 180% melee damage for 18 seconds. This will just make you Unga more Bunga and take enemies down more quickly. But the much more preferred Arcane is Arcane Strike, because this is 15% chance on hit, which is trivial, or 60% attack speed to melee weapons for 18 seconds. And that 60% attack speed is very nice for just shredding down hallways and taking out just swathes of enemies. Just tons and tons of guys just dying as soon as you look their direction. And that's really what Baruuk is about. For that, we have a Desert Wind build. This is a little heavy on Forma. I will absolutely say that you do not need to invest this much in Desert Wind for it to perform very well. Primed Fury, absolutely unnecessary. Primed Fever Strike, absolutely unnecessary. Sacrificial Steel at max rank, don't need that. This thing at rank 8 or 9, you're going to be more than fine. You do not need to invest this much into Desert Wind, but you absolutely can. And this is putting us up at like 94% status and 160% critical chance with a 3.8 multiplier, which is all very nice. Now, in the test video that we're going to be doing on the Steel Path, I don't do the thing that I'm about to describe because it is just vastly unnecessary. And also, it's kind of broken as of late as compared to how it used to be. So, you can, on Baruuk, use a stat stick with the Venka. Usually, you will also switch to Naramon whenever you do this so that your combo counter lasts essentially infinite amounts of time whenever you've built it up. Because what you do is you build combo on the Venka, and you have the Gladiator buffs, which will apply to your 4 with the mods on the Venka. And you combine that, of course, with some combo duration, and then heavy attack efficiency and quickening and combo count chances here. And all these things are in here. And also range just to hit more enemies. The reason this stuff is here is because if you want to, you can build up that combo and get all these Gladiator buffs and hit colossally harder. However, there is a little snag recently that makes this not so great, and it's that if you hit an enemy with the actual fist part of Serene Storm, it will cancel out any combo that you've built up from the Venka and make you have to restart with the Venka, and that's just super inconvenient. Ideally, of course, like this stuff would apply and you just keep your combo, and if you punch somebody with the Serene Storm, it wouldn't reset all the work that you do on the Venka to build yourself up even further. But because it does, I would generally state that it's not worth it. You can do it, though, if you really want to see some bonkers numbers. Outside of that, honestly, for Baruuk, the weapons don't really matter. Usually, you're going to want, like, an Arc of Plasmor, probably. Something that can just, like, do good upfront damage or like hit specific weak points or just any kind of weapon that can do stuff like that. I've got the Proboscis Ceranos on here. It's just a random weapon. The Nuke Core is just generally good. Primary and secondary slot, usually not going to actually matter for Baruuk. And then speaking of not mattering for Baruuk, this test we're about to do in the Simulacrum, this will mean absolutely nothing. You can see we have our restraint meter, which is completely empty. All we got to do is fill that up enough to activate our 4, and then we can punch all of the enemies like one time and they'll explode. We turn our Desolate Hands on for all that damage reduction. Pull the enemies to sleep. Get her forward. Didn't even activate Empower to make this do even more damage. Yeah, I mean, it's really not. I mean, you punch mans. That's really what's up here. I will say that there's some uses for his different combos, as like holding forward in E is going to give you some good forward momentum. It is good for cleaning hallways. His right click will suck enemies in, so if you've got a particularly tanky enemy, usually it's best to hit them with both your waves and also your actual fists, and that'll help you take down those enemies faster. Usually that's going to be like the Acolytes and stuff like that. You're gonna want to do that on. The one that I would really not suggest using most of the time, although it is fun, is his hold block and forward E. That's going to do some like geysers in front of you and lift enemies, and it looks really fun. And honestly, you do enough damage that if it's fun for you, just go for it. But I would say it's, generally speaking, going to be like, more of a mess than it is going to be a really efficient killing method. And then just your very stock standard just punching in place combo is fantastic. If there's just a bunch of enemies running down a hallway into you, just turn it into the microwave hallway and have them all explode in front of you. Works really well for that. But yeah, that's what Baruuk has going on. He is a very simple pacifist Warframe. Clearly, obviously that's what he's meant to be. And he does the murder real good. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the Steel Path run. Not a huge amount to talk about. He's a good time. A little hard to acquire. Whenever his Prime comes out, I think he's going to be a lot more popular. But yeah, that's what's going on with Baruuk. Oh, just to show fashion stuff real quick. I keep forgetting. For anyone that's curious, it's the Bedouin skin, and then the attachments are this stuff. And there you go. Yeah, enjoy. Enjoy the Steel Path run. It's extremely, extremely easy to kill both Acolytes and every enemy in this mission, so go watch me punch face. Goodbye. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Scans show Grimmar harvesting Kuba nearby. Set off the alarms to draw them out and steal their Kuba catalysts. Predictable. As expected, Grimmar have shut down environmental systems, sending modified life support capsules. Use these to sustain your environment or attach Kuba catalysts to begin harvesting. Life support incoming. I've delivered a life support capsule to the area. Activating it will buy you more time. Life support on the way. Another life support capsule is now available. operative has just made their first discovery. Keep up the good work. When you need it, extraction's ready.
Love folks who love what they do.
share in this bounty. Hold out as long as you can.
A valuable lesson.